Hi everyone, DJ here. Welcome to Brawlhalla. Over the last Brawlhalla video, I have talked about was celebrating the 3 years of Brawlhalla, and pretty much celebrating 3 years of Brawlhalla, and talk about my experience with this game. If y'all didn't see that video, make sure to check that video out before this one. But today, if y'all want to remember, by the way, from over maybe about a month or 2 months ago, that I pretty much talked about is which characters do I love in Brawlhalla, or should I say hate and love in Brawlhalla. And they pretty much been in the playlist pretty much for this year of 2025. Now it's time to pretty much do the crossovers. Now, there could be some very interesting one, by the way, because this one actually is which crossovers do I love in Brawlhalla. Because I have no idea which one I hate, by the way, because first of all, I don't think I hate all of them, by the way. But if I ever do a video on that, by the way, it will be very interesting, because these are just be my opinion, by the way, especially for this one for this video, because this one is my opinion for pretty much like which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla. So if you want to know, there's a lot of crossover this game, by the way, like I mean a lot, because we got like Shovel Knight, Steven Universe, WWE, just basically all of them, by the way. So I'm probably gonna be picking one of them, which one I love from this whole entire list. So I'll wait no time, as always, let's get into this. Now, I'm probably going to be picking basically 4 of them, by the way. So, who is the first one which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla? Well, you know what? I have to pretty much start off the one that pretty much made me start playing this game, and also made me start doing the series as well. And that is Street Fighter. Now, if you all want to know, actually, I was a really big fan of Street Fighter, and I didn't play like the old arcade game, by the way, because I wasn't even born back then, by the way. But I'm pretty much saying that Street Fighter has been one of my favorite fighting games ever since. Because Super Smash Bros. Was not my first ever like fighting game, by the way, because most of all I didn't have a DS back then until pretty much now, because I think I have like 2 of them. But still, like Street Fighter has been one of my favorites. Like this is what made me play this game for a reason, because Street Fighter has been lead toward my heart ever since when I played it on the Xbox 360. And I still love Street Fighter to this day, by the way. Even the new Street Fighter 6. Because most of all, we do have is Ryu, Akuma, especially Chun-Li. So I'm pretty much doing the first one, by the way, lead the part 1, by the way. Not the second part, by the way. I do love these guys too, by the way. I do love Sakura, M. Bison, Dawson, and pretty much Ken. But I mostly love the Street Fighter part 1, by the way, because most of all, if you want to know, the first ever character that I pretty much love in Street Fighter, especially in Brawlhalla 2, and pretty much, you know, yep, Chun-Li. And Chun-Li has been one of my favorite girls to pretty much play in the game. It's also one of my favorite fighters as well. And I really love Street Fighter, literally do. And I'm so glad they're in Brawlhalla, by the way, because most of all, I know they're in Fortnite, by the way, but I believe Fortnite hasn't released them in pretty much like long days, by the way. I don't know how long they've been gone, but I know they released in 2021. But since they're pretty much in Brawlhalla, and pretty much in the same year that pretty much like after that, when I started doing the series of Brawlhalla from literally 2022. Kind of very interesting, by the way. So they only been here for like literally almost 3 years now. Well, sorry, 4 years now. So which is pretty much crazy. So pretty much that is the first crossovers I do love in Brawlhalla. That makes number 1, by the way. So number 2. So who would be my number 2? Which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla? Now, if I ever pick like any like show, by the way, if I ever pick any like cartoon or pretty like from Cartoon Network, by the way, I might have to go with Adventure Time. I mean, here's the thing. Adventure Time has been one of the most goated Cartoon Network shows of all time. Even though that Cartoon Network by now has probably have fallen off, which I probably been known that ever since, by the way, because you know Craig of the Creek has ended and pretty much the story goes on. But as I'm saying this right now, that Adventure Time has always been one of my favorite shows, by the way. Between like I think Codename Kids at Door, which is like one of my also favorite shows of all time from Cartoon Network. I could say, yeah, Clarence as well. Not Chowder. I mean, I do love Chowder, but Chowder had never been one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows. But that show is pretty good. Foster's Home, of course, and then pretty much some others. But like Adventure Time would probably be lead like number 2 up here for like which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla? Because I love Finn, I love Jake, I love these two, by the way. like I think most of all, like Finn and Jake and Princess Bubblegum being in this game is kind of very interesting because most of all, I think like seeing Finn, Jake, especially Princess Bubblegum in this game is just kind of crazy to me because most of all, I think this is the first time ever that I've seen this game collab with literally like a different show that's basically from Cartoon Network. So which is very interesting. So that's pretty much cool to see, by the way. And I do remember doing the crossover as well. I pretty much I was playing them back around 2022. So I don't think that video or that I think that playlist might be still up, but I'm not entirely sure. So I might go check on my own time just to make sure. But still, I'm glad these guys in the game. By the way, they have like Venture Time itself has been one of my favorite shows of all time, by the way. And ever since I pretty much finished watching the show, by the way, and the ending itself, it was pretty much really good. So glad to see him in pretty much in Brawlhalla. All right, so that was number 2. Now it's time for number 3. Now here's the thing. If I ever said number 3 would have been one of my favorites, let's just start from like 2022. Like we had like 22 crossover. We had with Street Fighter Part 2. We had was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We had was Avatar. And I think there was something else too. So my guessing is if I ever pick, oh yeah, also G.I. Joe. If I ever pick which one's my favorite crossover for like literally the literally beginning, I know this one's gonna be really random, but I would say G.I. Joe. Now, here's the thing. G.I. Joe was the first ever crossover I ever done on a video, by the way, in Brawlhalla. It literally was the first ever crossover to start literally this whole entire crossover like pretty much like series, by the way. And this like just blew me off because most of all, I don't remember watching much G.I. Joe. I know there's gonna be kind of a little bit comments about that, but G.I. Joe itself was a really good show. I know everyone had talked about it, by the way, and I wasn't expecting them to be in Brawlhalla, so which is interesting. I did enjoy playing as them, pretty much known as Snake Eyes and pretty much Storm Shadow. So I really enjoyed these two. Kind of very interesting that they did a part 2 of them, by the way. Like I don't know much about most of the characters, like all the characters in G.I. Joe. All I know is just these two, and that's pretty much it. But if you want to know, by the way, they were also part of the one that, well, I think I would say they're probably the first crossover, but I did say earlier that Street Fighter was the one maybe people start maybe playing more like the game more, by the way, because here's the thing, as I said before, G.I. Joe were the first ever crossovers. But if you think about it, if you look back from 2022, these guys were the first crossovers I ever done between out of Street Fighter, by the way. So I guess you could pretty much say they're like the second crossover I ever pretty much played in the game, so which is very interesting. But yeah, picking G.I. Joe is pretty much a very interesting topic, by the way, and also a very interesting opinion as well. Because I do love G.I. Joe. I do love these characters. I don't think none of these characters are bad as well. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, I really love them. And that's all I pretty much had to say from right there. So glad these guys were pretty much the part of the crossovers I pretty much did back in 2022, by the way. And hopefully soon enough, they might be do a part, maybe do like a part 2. Alright. And the last crossover we're going to mention, by the way, and I know this one's going to be really recent because this was pretty much from like last year, 2024. But I think this probably may have been one of the most mind-blowing crossovers of all time in Brawlhalla. And that is Star Wars. Now, let me remind you, this was probably the most, oh my god, I don't know what to say. It was pretty much the most shockingest thing I ever seen. Because let me remind you, I am a Star Wars fan. I am a really Star Wars fan. And this also makes me happy because Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Darth Vader, lead the villain himself, and one of my favorite villains of all time, Darth Maul. Because, literally off, you want to know, like Star Wars being in Brawlhalla, it just like made me want to just like get out of my chair. Because most of all, like Star Wars and Brawlhalla, oh my god. Like, this is crazy. And I do remember showing them literally in 2024, by the way. Like, literally around, like, March. And then, remember they did a last crossover for it for films around May. But, if you want to know, these are, like, the whole entire Star Wars crossover, by the way. We had was a part 2, actually, which I was not expecting part 2 as well. Because we're going to mention these guys as well, too. Because they're, like, literally all the Star Wars, literally all going to be in my fourth, like, which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla. because when they did, after they did was them, they pretty much did literally the ones I did not expect it, and this one was very unexpected. We got is the Mandalorian. Mandalorian and Guru will be in the game. It's just Han Solo as well. K Vess, I don't know who that is, and Chewbacca. Wow, just like 2 Star Wars crossovers over last year is actually crazy. And speaking of that, if you want to know, I have not finished watching Mandalorian. By the way, yes, I know it's kind of a little bit late saying that, by the way, because I know Mandalorian just ended, but I do love Mandalorian. I watched it on Disney Plus when I first time watched it back around 2022. Love it. Love Mandalorian. Love how his story was. Love how this first season was, by the way, especially from with Guru as well. I enjoyed him, by the way. I really enjoyed these crossovers, by the way. K Vess, I'm not entirely sure. As I said before, I know there was a new Star Wars game called Star Wars Outlaw, which I haven't even seen yet, by the way. I forgot to check it out late around December, by the way, when they came out. So I'm very sorry about that, by the way. But let me know in the comment below if the game is good or not, by the way, because I want to know. Because I really haven't played any Star Wars games in a very long time, so I'm not entirely sure. But especially all these crossovers being in the game, especially Star Wars as well, it's just probably maybe the most craziest crossover of all time, by the way. Now, I know that we have most of other crossovers, pretty much Borderlands, which I didn't even know that was Borderlands. Also, what just happened right there? Okay. Yeah, Borderlands, Mega Man, and of course Destiny 2, which is pretty much this year, 2025. But I think Star Wars literally just gotta be the most craziest crossover of all time. I know I've been saying this the second time now, but I'm just saying that one more time because I am so happy these guys been here, by the way. Because I was not expecting Brawlhalla to actually do this, by the way, because I literally wanted Street Fighter Part 3. But Star Wars, that's literally take up the cake right there. Really do. I hope they do a Part 3 because we don't have Luke Skywalker. If they do Luke Skywalker, oh my gosh. Brawlhalla might be one of the most games I ever loved per the year from back from 2022 to now 2025. Even though I still love this game, by the way. I might not play it that much often, but I still love this game. But still, Star Wars being my 4th ever favorite. Which crossover do I love in Brawlhalla? But yeah, so which ones y'all pretty much taking my opinion for, by the way? Because I know there was some very interesting opinions. So we pretty much had was Street Fighter as my first ever favorite, by the way. If y'all want to pretty much agree with that one, especially Adventure Time, G.I. Joe being the first ever crossover I ever done, pretty much in the Brawlhalla series, and pretty much Star Wars, what I just talked about now. So let me know comment down below which one's y'all favorite in this whole numbers I put, especially for the whole entire crossovers as well for Brawlhalla, because like I said before, there's a lot of crossovers in Brawlhalla. So whoever gonna be the next one after Destiny 2, by the way, I hope it be good, because Destiny 2 was probably the most most crazy one they probably added for this year 2025 to start off, by the way. But who knows they're gonna add, by the way. But yeah, but what everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and end off right here. If y'all enjoyed, sure you know what to do. So I'll see y'all tomorrow in the next video. Bye.